come in. Mark and Daniel.
Mark and Daniel, you might
Yeah. Okay. Let me know when you're good to go. Everyone's right? Okay, well, good morning Queensland, and in some further good news overnight, I can advise we've only had one new case of COVID in hotel quarantine, and of course we're not worried about that. We have 25 active cases. We've had 4,110 tests in the past 24 hours, and the number of vaccines administered to date have been 8,300, so that's fantastic news. And I can report the AstraZeneca has arrived in Queensland, and the hubs of Bundaberg and Logan will open tomorrow. And of course our priority there is our frontline workers in hotel quarantine and our healthcare workers. So that's once again very, very good news. Well, today we also have some good news for Queensland. And that is, of course, we know that the people in the far north, especially the tourism industry, are doing it tough. I've been up there personally. I've met with the tourism industry, and I'm very pleased to be joined today by Minister Sterling Hinchcliffe, our Assistant Minister Michael Healy, Mark Olsen, and of course Daniel Gershwind. And when we were up in Cairns, we met with the operators, and there is a huge issue in terms of JobKeeper finishing at the end of this month. And we've been working very hard to raise the concerns of tourism operators with the ending of JobKeeper. Well, Queensland, have we got a deal for you? We have decided that we want to make sure that people across Queensland get to enjoy tropical far north Queensland, but most importantly, let's help people who need the help the most. So we're announcing 15,000 vouchers, and they'll be worth up to $200 each for Queenslanders to go and support operators up in the far north. So there will be it'll be available to be used until the end of June. So I heard that bookings for Easter are going quite well, but if you've never taken your family up to Cairns or Port Douglas or the Tablelands or out to the Great Barrier Reef, now is the time, because you can go into the draw for a $200 voucher. Now, some of these schemes have worked well in other states, but we believe that this is absolutely what the industry spoke to government about. We have listened, and today we are delivering. This is wonderful news. I'm so pleased that we can help the industry out. We can help those operators. If you go to the website www.queensland.com, you can register for that tomorrow. But there is a list there of all the experiences that you'll be able to do, from going out to explore the Great Barrier Reef, to going on Skyrail, to going to the Cairns Aquarium, sail away Port Douglas, fishing and jet boating. There's a whole lot of experiences that I'm quite sure that Michael and Mark are going to talk to you today about. So look, I'll hand over to the Minister to say a few words, then we'll hear from Mark and Michael and Daniel.
Thanks, Premier, and it is wonderful to be able to be announcing these Cairns Holiday Dollars for Queensland and Queenslanders today. This is an opportunity to support the great tourism industry in the tropical north and make sure that we see more Queenslanders getting more of an experience of the fantastic opportunities and experiences that exist in their own backyard in the tropical north and in the northern part of the Great Barrier Reef. This is an opportunity for them to get more value and get more experiences, and so that's why I'd encourage people to go to www.queensland.com and from tomorrow through to Thursday register for the ballot to get one of these 15,000 vouchers, 15,000 $200 vouchers that can provide a great lot of extra experiences that people can have as part of their Tropical North Queensland holiday. These vouchers will cover up to 50% of an individual experience. Any Queenslander 18 years and older can register, and be in the ballot to get one of these 15,000 vouchers. But this is an excellent partnership with the tourism industry in Cairns and the broader Tropical North region. So thank you to Mark Olsen and TTNQ for their partnership in supporting this program. It's a great example of the way in which we've listened to the industry, we've worked with the industry, we've designed a program that'll support the sectors of the industry that are the most exposed to the international borders being closed, and give Queenslanders that chance to either experience Tropical North Queensland for the first time or experience it again and rediscover how spectacular it is, and make sure that they have some fantastic experiences that they can share with their, not only their own friends and family, but people further abroad within the rest of Australia, and when we see those international borders reopen, the rest of the world. So thank you, Premier, for your support, and thank you, Mark, for your engagement on this as an outcome. Let me hand over to Michael Healy, my Assistant Minister, who's been a great conduit to engagement with the sector, not only in far north Queensland, but across the rest of the state.
Thanks very much, Minister. Good morning, everybody. It's almost the Cairns backdrop. I just want to begin by saying thank you, Premier, and thank you, Minister. This is a terrific announcement. At this time of year, usually in Cairns, we would have anywhere around the number of 30,000 Chinese visitors. Obviously, with the borders being closed, the industry has been calling for assistance, and I am so proud to be part of a government that not only listens but also provides. What we are providing, it's not just for Queenslanders and other parties, but it's also available to locals. This is an opportunity for locals up in Cairns to be able to utilise some of these vouchers to enjoy world-class products. The industry has been doing it tough, and other destinations throughout the state are doing well than domestic, so this is obviously a reaction from the industry. We have been listening to them, we have been supportive of them. It's fantastic, and I would encourage everybody listening, plan your holiday for Cairns. We're well and truly open. The weather is spectacular. I got off a plane there, I got on this morning with Mark Olsen. It was dark, but I've just spoken to my wife. She says it's beautiful. Please come up, enjoy, and you'll be well and truly looked after. I'd like to hand over to Mark Olsen, and before I do, Tourism Tropical North Queensland have been enormously supportive in not only representing the industry up there, but in working very closely with the government. And the Premier and the Minister have both touched on the importance of their engagement. I also would like to comment on that. They continue to do a very good job advocating, and as the member for Cairns, I'm proud to be associated with this very powerful statement. Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. That's very, very kind. Premier, Minister, Assistant Minister, on behalf of the industry, thank you for listening to our calls. This is a time when we'd normally be welcoming about 3,500 international visitors a day. And only weeks ago, Premier, you came to Cairns, you listened to the industry, and you've responded. The industry will respond by turning this investment by TTNQ and the Queensland Government into more than $14 million worth of benefit into our region. That's because all of those Australians who have been coming up since the borders closed, those first-timers and haven't been in a long-timers, have been absolutely loving their experience in Cairns and the Great Barrier Reef. We're the #1 region on Google for travel experiences, and we're rating incredibly highly in visitor satisfaction. And what that is from is the hard work of Tourism and Events Queensland, TTNQ and the Queensland Government to promote this destination, and the Cairns Holiday Dollars is the injection that the industry needs to really make that boost. So often I'm asked, should I take the boat or should I take the helicopter? Should I take a guide to the Daintree or can I do it myself? Well, the Cairns Holiday Dollars takes all of that out of the equation. You can do both. You can do it all. A $200 injection into your holiday will give you the chance to not only get a half-price trip out to the Great Barrier Reef, but to spoil the family by taking them on Skyrail. Head up to the Daintree, do a food tour and spoil yourself with a hot air balloon. There's more than 1,000 experiences in our region waiting for these Cairns Holiday Dollars to be spent, but it will mean that you have to get online from Monday to queensland.com. You've got 72 hours to grab one of these 15,000 vouchers, and then you have to get up into the region before the 25th of June to make this work. I'd like to make a special call to Leanne Coddington. These initiatives take an enormous amount of work. We have thousands of operators got many, many interested parties across all levels of government. Everyone is excited, Premier, by this incredible announcement today, but it takes a huge amount of work to coordinate something like this. So thank you to Leanne and to the team for making this happen. And a final note, visitors who come to Cairns and the Great Barrier Reef should remember that every single visitor makes a difference. Your trip to the Great Barrier Reef contributes directly to its conservation. The preservation of Aboriginal and Indigenous cultures, the protection of our rainforests. So not only can you see great and now save great, you can leave greater and leave a greater impact in our destination by coming to visit. So it's the easiest thing in the world to do. Jump on a plane, jump in the car, come on up to Cairns and Great Barrier Reef, bring your holiday dollars with you and we'll welcome you with open arms. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As we go towards Easter and the winter holiday season, which is so important to Queensland, this voucher is a timely and absolutely great incentive for so many more people to not only travel to destinations like the Tropical North, but to actually get into it, enjoy the experiences that are on offer, whether that's that trip onto the reef, into the rainforest, up to the Cape or elsewhere. This is what many Queenslanders perhaps need to make them realise just how much more there is to discover once they get into a place. And I have to say, if there is any tourism silver lining to this COVID situation that we faced over the last year, it is certainly the fact that so many more Queenslanders have been encouraged and incentivised to explore more of their own state. We're seeing this happening, and this voucher is now the additional bonus that you get for making yourself available to these absolutely Instagrammable moments that you can have in North Queensland across this country. You don't need to go overseas to brag about your holidays through social media. This voucher will give you that extra incentive to make that Instagram moment happen for you, your family, your friends, and to come away with great memories. I want to acknowledge the Queensland Government, who's worked very diligently with our industry over the last year to make this situation more bearable for the industry. We have a long road ahead of us, and it will depend on the partnership we have with the Queensland Government, with all its agencies, with the Tourism Minister, with Tourism and Events Queensland, and all the other parts of government that are so essential to create a future for this sector. We will be part of the recovery. We'll be a strong part of the recovery with thousands of jobs in our sector across the state, across all communities. And this voucher is one more step in this partnership. Thank you.
So we need people to pack their bags and head to Cairns. So this voucher system, I think, is going to be extremely attractive to a lot of families, and destination up to Cairns where the reef meets the rainforest. There's no better place to be than Queensland. So happy to take some questions.
Premier, there's probably a few tourism operators in town from Lord Harvey Bay
Yeah.
saying, what about us? Will you look at rolling this out to other parts of Queensland?
Yeah, we are looking at that down the track, but at the moment the Cairns operators are really feeling the brunt of this in terms of the number of international tourists. And you heard what Mark was saying. Thousands of international tourists would have been coming to Cairns during this time of year, a day. And look, we've got to help them. So if your family has never been out to the Great Barrier Reef, if you've never seen the rainforest and the tablelands, now is the time to go. So get online tomorrow, register, and we want people to explore everything that Queensland has to offer.
Is there any thought to widening the scheme to people outside of Queensland?
No, this is for Queenslanders. We want the money from Queensland invested, but we'll be looking at down the track about how we can also, sorry, it's a mosquito here, how we can attract people from other states to also come and support Queensland. And of course we know how popular Queensland is as a holiday destination.
Are Sydney siders still rocking to come up with holiday?
Of course they are. Of course they are. They're coming up here in droves. You only have to go to the airport and you'll see them all.
No blockout period, but in theory could all 15,000 people use this for one tourism experience?
I think they'll spread it around. There is so many tourism experiences that I think people will find something that suits their family or suits them as a couple or an individual. There's so many there, so hop on the website, have a look. From going out to the reef to like all the experiences on the Skyrail, the train, there are so many opportunities there. And there's a lot of small operators that offer such great experiences that you may not even know of. So go on, have a look and see what you'd like to spend the money on.
But are there any limits? Could they all, if I get a voucher, am I guaranteed that I'll be able to use it and have the experience that I want?
Sterling?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, is the simple answer. You'll be able to use it, the experience, depending on the capacity of those particular operators on a given day.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, there's no limitations. But as the Premier said, the experiences that are available to people across the whole of tropical North Queensland are so varied and so diverse that, and we know that the tastes that people have are so varied and so diverse that there's something for everyone in tropical North Queensland. And there's an operator and a tourism enterprise ready and waiting to take advantage of these, help you take advantage of these Cairns holiday dollars.
I mean, do you think that this $200 voucher will actually be enough to encourage people to book flights, book accommodation, and go to Cairns? Because you essentially spend $200 to get the $200 off.
I think it will actually assist people. I absolutely do. And, people can fly, they can drive, they can catch a train. There's a whole different, it's a great family adventure as well. You can stop at so many different parts across Queensland on your way. If you've got a week or 2 weeks, or you can fly, there's a lot of opportunities there for people. So, log on and see what deals you can get. And there's lots of accommodation as well.
Could it be expanded beyond this current allocation of...
Well, we'll see how it goes, Jack. That's a really good question. We'll see how it goes. But let's get people online logging in to make sure that they can be eligible for these vouchers.
How will it work if you hand up 15,000 vouchers and you won't use them?
Yeah, my understanding is that then we can look at the end of that period if they haven't been used and perhaps reallocate them. Yep. So we'll look at all of those options. Yep. Sorry? I'll get the Minister to answer that one. Thanks.
So when a successful person who's registered in the ballot and is successful in receiving one of the vouchers, when they redeem the voucher with the operator, the operator is then able to seek the further redemption of that with an invoice to Tourism and Events Queensland, and that'll be redeemed. The cash will flow back to those tourism operators as quickly as possible. They do, and we've already been engaging with operators right across tropical North Queensland with the great assistance of Mark and his team to be on board with the avenues that'll have that available. And when people go and register tomorrow at www.queensland.com, they'll be able to check out the range of experiences that'll be available to them. Whether they're successful with these Cairns Holiday Dollars vouchers, if they're lucky enough to get one of the 15,000, or if they just want to book straight away and do something, all those experiences are available right now. Yep. They are. In fact, there's a 2,000, tropical North Queensland, Cairns and Far North Queensland residents will be able to be. There's an allocation amongst the 15,000 of 2,000, where those people from the local area will be able to get those vouchers, and that'll help provide support and sustaining opportunities for those experiences, like the reef tours, like tourism experiences beyond Cairns up into the Cape that people from Cairns and the broader region will be able to take advantage of as well. So that'll provide support for the industry straight off the bat, no questions at all.
And when, let's say I book a $300 experience, is the rest credited, or is it just a one-time?
No, you're able to use the rest for another experience, or if it's not redeemed, as the Premier explained, whatever's left over at the end of this process, we'll be able to look forward to how we further use that into the future.
There's around 30,000 visitors that
Well, this is the allocation that we've identified to trial this and experience it. As the Premier said, this is a great opportunity to see how this will work. We've seen from other experiences with voucher schemes in other jurisdictions and other similar things that have happened globally, that this has opened up the floodgates of people doing experiences, making choices that they wouldn't otherwise make. The feeling that people have when they've got something, getting something, a little bit of it for free, makes them open the wallet up more wide. That's the experience globally in the industry. We want to make sure that we use this as a way opening up people's minds to a visit to Tropical North Queensland, and to open up their wallets further when they arrive, so they don't just fly in, stay at a hotel, sit by the pool, but they get out and enjoy these experiences, and they'll do more as a consequence.
Just a question for Mark, if we could. Obviously, we've heard about how hard it is for tourism operators, but give us some context, how challenging has it been for them up there?
Yeah, look, there's no doubt. So the industry's been cut by more than half. We're 60% down on where we were at a similar time in a similar year. Year on year isn't a good comparison anymore because it's already been more than a year since we started to see the impacts. For a destination that used to turn over $3.5 billion of tourism expenditure supporting 1 in 5 jobs, we've lost more than $2.2 billion worth of visitor expenditure. $1 billion of that is international visitation. Now, visitation from the international markets is now. This is the time we would normally be seeing Aussies stay a little closer to home and international travellers come across the world to see what we've offered for decades as the main attraction to Australia. So for operators, some of them are down as far as 80 or 90% when international was their primary target, particularly the reef fleet. So the Cairns Holiday Dollars is specifically designed for experiences. It's not designed for the accommodation provider. It is designed for the experience to really bring people up, to get them out and do something. What we've seen so many times in the social media over the last couple of months is overwhelming feedback from the customer. They didn't know that you could do that in Cairns. It's like an international holiday in Australia.
What was their reaction then when you said, look, you're going to get these vouchers and be part of the scheme?
Yeah, look, the industry has only been brought in a little bit at a time. You know, this is a really important announcement. We'll be working with the industry over the next 2 weeks. What you can see online is just a small fragment of the hundreds of operators we'll be working with who'll be coming into the scheme. So right at the moment, you've only got a taster of what the destination has to offer. Over the next 2 weeks, while people are registering and getting access to the vouchers, more and more products and experiences will be available. But you can jump on to cairnsandgreatbarrierreef.com and check out all the experiences available. Our operators are over the moon about the opportunity to get people to do that one thing they've never tried before. It's a really good kickstart for a really important time. So in the domestic market, April to June is our quietest time. It's when our international market booms. So the industry need a lift right now, and the Premier listened, the Minister came and listened and understood that we needed to do this now. Not in the June-July school holidays when we're seeing some strong forward bookings from Sydney and Melbourne. They needed the investment right now, and that's why the industry is so pleased to see the Cairns Holiday Dollars announced today and available between now and the 25th of June. Look, we've been in constant conversation with the federal government. The JobKeeper initiative has been one of the most successful programs in keeping people in their job, and we would love to see a program like that, even if it was slightly different, continue. We've got thousands of employees whose job rests on being able to get through to the June-July school holidays. We call it the bridge. We need a bridge to get through from today through to those June-July school holidays when the domestic market picks up again. As soon as the temperature drops in Sydney and Melbourne, the visitors flock to Tropical North Queensland. We know that. But what we've got to do is get between here and there, and that's why the Cairns Holiday Dollars investment is such an important fillip for so many experience providers. Yep.
Sure. Premier, what do you think of the allegations involving Brisbane schools and sexual assault?
I've just heard about some of those allegations. I think it's really important that students have the opportunity to be able to have their voices heard and their voices listened to. So, you know, every school must have a process in place that makes it easier for the person to come forward and state their case.
I know they're saying, education on consent and stuff like that should be done at a younger age. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. I think everything that we can do to protect people needs to be done. Yes. I've said very clearly, I mean, I went up and I listened to what was happening in Cairns, and what I think we need is a targeted scheme, like Mark said, to help people get through this really tough time. And we know that Cairns relies heavily on international tourism. The international borders have been shut by the federal government. Now, I support that. I absolutely support the federal government's decision in relation to closing the international borders. But that's having an impact, a really big impact on particular sectors in our economy. and the tourism sector, especially in Cairns and those surrounding regions, are really feeling those impacts. So anything we can do to assist, and hopefully the federal government will listen as well.
Have you picked up the phone and spoken to Josh Frydenberg about your concerns?
I've spoken to the Prime Minister about my concerns.
At the moment, there's around a third of patients presenting at the emergency departments that
Yep. Yep.
do you think they're going
That's a really good question, and I just really need to stress to people that you can go and see your GP. And now is the time, if you haven't had your annual checkup and you need to go and get scripts filled or anything like that, please go back and see your local GP. We're having thousands of people present to our emergency departments for non-emergency issues. So we really need our emergency departments to be kept for those emergencies. So if it is something routine that you would usually go and see your GP about, please go back and see your GP. So I went for my checkup the other day. It was pretty easy to do. So now I'm encouraging others to do the same. I think that is an issue, and of course bulk billing is an issue for the federal government, and it does make it difficult for people, but we need people to go back to their GPs, not to present to emergencies. I'm quite sure the health ministers around the country raise this issue on a regular basis. Yep.
Last question. Just back on the subject, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you think there should be an investigation into it? And also, we've spoken to Minister Grace. I know down south, the minister was meeting with a lot of principals. Would you encourage him to do the same?
Yeah, look, I'll catch up with Minister Grace tomorrow at Cabinet, but of course these are really serious issues, and I think what we've seen over the last 4 weeks, it is taking an emotional toll on a lot of people, and if there is anyone out there that is feeling concerned or upset about what they're hearing, we urge you to please go to any of those support agencies, because I'm quite sure that the last 4 weeks is having a huge toll across a lot of women across our country as well. So I please urge them to stand strong and to please go and seek whatever necessary help is available to people out there. Okay, thank you.
Got a couple of pictures?
Here we go. Would you like to jump in that?